All right. Well, guys, for the last meeting for June, we are just into the summer solstice. So happy long summer, and we have a guest cat visiting for a quick hello. At any rate, yeah. So I hope enjoying, because the days are going to get shorter from here onwards. Not to put a pessimistic view on things, but it is the reality. But at any rate, I guess what I want to do is start off. President Bob is there, and so maybe give a chance to Bob if you have anything you want to announce or share, anything to kick off the meeting.
Oh, good evening. Hi, John. How are you?
It's good seeing you.
Good. Just a quick announcement. As you know, the club's had two successful shows in March and in May. Board of directors didn't meet, or most recently in May. And we'll be meeting in June, and we're going to begin to talk about the club website. You probably know the website plays a critical role in our club. It's public facing. We get inquiries from the public. I want to sell my dad's estate. How do I do that? It plays a key role in terms of accepting PayPal memberships, PayPal payments for the shows, for tables and tailgate space. So there's some critical functions that really contribute to our success. So we'll be meeting to talk with Joe, who's our webmaster, about keeping the page updated and maybe modernizing it a little bit and looking to make some changes. So that's all I've got to say. If anybody has any questions.
Right. Well, thank you, Bob. There, I know we agree. There are things that we do want to do. The website, for example, one of the things we'd like to add is a calendar. Whether it's just a list or a nice little calendar you click on. So this we can add. So I've been polling you gentlemen for events, which I'll be doing shortly after this. But to know about events that are not only our own club, our own club ones, we can put that on the calendar, but all the other local events that we care about, whether it's the ham events at MIT, the New England Wireless and Steam Museum, things along those lines that we all have an interest in, and even go even add some of our neighboring, like even the vintage radio and communications museum events, things like that. Just so we have a sort of for the area events, we have one direct way to look at things. So that's kind of one of the goals that we'd like to add to the website that would offer a benefit not only for us as members, but even for the public. At any rate, so that's it. Thank you, Bob. Does anyone have any announcements or anything you'd like to share in that regard? Well, looks like Bob has another one. Oh, you don't. Okay, I misread that. Is any club announcements or anything everyone wants to bring forward? It's like a quiet bunch. Okay, about anything? Does anyone have anything they want to show? Recent acquisition, something to sell, projects, anything along those lines? It's sort of an open forum in that regard. Oh, okay. I'm gonna quickly make a quick statement about Carl. Hello, Carl. I see you're on a boat, and I see a nice background. Ahoy!
Yes.
Ahoy!
Ahoy! Yep. Left South Bristol this morning in thick fog, and it cleared out after a couple hours. Glad to have GPS and radar, and I got into Portsmouth about 5 o'clock. So tomorrow's Boston.
Very good. Good to see you. I love the backdrop.
Oh, thank you. I'll keep it then.
Well, then I guess if no one has anything they want to bring forth, I guess we can get right into the meat of things, which will be what happened what happened during Spring Brookline. So of course I'll share my screen and walk some of the pictures and so forth here. So let me do that. Okay, I'm hoping everybody can see this. Let me know if you can't.
See the little wheel going around.
Oh, give it a moment. You're probably just catching up to me.
There you go.
I just got the confirmation too. I see this little evolutionary user interface changes with Zoom that tells you these little things. So that batting leadoff is this Telefunken 5353W from about 1962.
Assuming that's at your house?
No, that actually came from my house.
Oh, $10. Wow. How can you go wrong? A German
I
radio for $10.
I know. You know what? I really kind of wanted to just, give somebody a budding, a collector a good deal. I said, it's been sitting on the shelf for a while. Let's just, I'll get some token money for it. Maybe less than I paid for it years ago, but that's okay. That's the nature of the hobby.
But from what I've seen of the shows, the last couple of shows, it's a good thing I'm in Texas. Otherwise, my house would have been full of even more crap than it is now.
Well, you probably heard of that car selling site called Bring a Trailer. You just have to drive up and bring a trailer. But yeah, this actually is all complete radio. It does operate, but it needs the standard restoration. But it's complete. The one thing, and at least somebody will get a very good baseline to do a restoration on. I already have one of these. They made these, by the way, in two versions. One with the white dial face, with the lighter. They used teak wood on this, and then they made a dark stains with the kind of piano sheen style finish with the standard black dial face. So in fact is they just did a compliments to the line. So they made two versions of this. This is one of the few radios that they actually made versions like that. This, and the only one I think that comes to mind is the Telefunken Opus 7, which also is offered in something like this with the white dial face, and you could get the dark finish with the black dial face. So a little bit of trivia. But anyway, it did go to a home. It did go quickly, which I was happy to see because I just wanted someone to get something that they might enjoy. And it does have 3 speakers, so it's actually it's actually a pretty nice little radio on there, because it has here's the main speaker. Of course, it's sort of like a mid-range, and it's a tweeter over here. But yeah, they're nice radios. And also kind of neat. There's that early MCM design that kind of did the custom cut in for the chassis with an L-shaped grill. But anyway, no, I think this is Roger's table. He's an RCA Victor. Many of these have seen these before. Like Strata World. I don't remember whether that's sold or not. I know that Roger ultimately had a 50% off towards the latter end of the show. So they need Weston meter. Pretty cool. Oh, I did like right, there's a second one here. I think, oh, there is a second one. I thought this is a duplicate photo, which, by the way, forgive me, there will be a few duplicates, because when I'm banging out photos, I sometimes switch cameras when I start draining a battery, and I sometimes may forget that I already took a photo. So, we'll skip those from here or there. There's probably about probably a dozen duplicates. But this is just another RCA. I think Roger did the restoration. Yes, he works in all the bands. 125, which is pretty reasonable. All things considered, looks to be all complete in good condition. And if you wait for Roger's sale, you could have had it for half price. Silver tone with the dial face slightly askew, but this is a balanced stereo speaker. So this is a twin speaker radio. Yes, but that doesn't make sense. This is AM. What's in a marketing, right? Balanced stereo speakers. Those are $30. So I guess other than needing a fix, that was about it. That's pretty funny when I look at that. Balanced stereo speakers.
I don't think I've ever seen one of those before.
Same here. I didn't. I kind of find it a little bit laughable. You see this little switch. You actually pull the switch to turn it on. In fact, Roger even noted as much. But you know, with some minor fixes, this could be actually a neat little radio. I think it's pretty fair. It looks all complete. You know, a little bit of cleanup. I don't know whether Roger worked on it, but you know, I'm sure you could find a Sam's manual for it. And
Even got the little civil defense triangles on it.
There you go, exactly right. And you have quasi stereo. Can't beat that.
Well, the speakers are stereo, not the radio.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think that was one before Sequam.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't see a mode that says I can take a phono or something input, so it would actually enjoy the stereo like some of the earlier stereo systems like from Germany. Unless you bought the FM multiplexer, your stereo was only on auxiliary or phonograph.
Tape recorder.
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, it's an AM Philco.
Yeah, you know,
Wow.
I gave this more than one look, to be honest. I seriously thought about it.
Someone
That's
did
a
a really nice
1949.
job polishing up that cabinet.
Yeah, it looks. I think Roger did a pretty nice job. I thought that's kind of why I was attracted to it. Like, what was he asking for this?
Early FM,
And I think he
1949.
was. I think he restored this one.
Was that early FM or was that just, oh, that's the later FM. Okay, that's modern
It
FM.
was the later FM, but I mean early set that had FM, I should say.
Yeah, you can see it's 106
Oh,
a little bit.
okay.
There's a lot of glare. I apologize, but it's just the being outdoors. The glare was a little bit tough, but I can see that the standard FM. But yeah, I there was a little bit of restraint on my part, not to bring this home. I thought it was a nice radio. I forgot whether Roger sold it or not. To be honest, there may be a second chance for any of you boys. Heat hit.
Wow.
It's kind of neat.
Heath kit.
I don't know what the price was on this. I can see the tag on the side, but I can't tell you what he was asking. But
That's a real novice receiver right there.
yeah,
No, but no BFO. I remember
Oh, no, there's a
drooling over
BFO
those.
on it.
Not on that one. No.
Yeah, I'm
They-
looking right
they-
at the switch that says
It says
BFO.
BFO on or
Oh,
off.
all right. I humbly apologize.
That's okay.
I remember drooling over those in the catalog.
oh, that's funny.
And,
Oh,
and
Carl, maybe it might have been a situation that maybe Heathkit had one with a BFO and one without.
no, I can't take that easy out. I think I was just being a know-it-all who didn't know it.
That's all right. You're on vacation, Carl.
That's all right. You can do whatever you want on that boat, pal. I wish I was there.
Oh, come on up. I got warning for you. It's just one big V berth, so we're gonna get to know each other.
That's funny. Up here is a Nordmenda Tannhäuser 57. This is the American import version because anything is imported by Sterling, I think, which I thought, I can't remember where they were Chicago based. But anyway, this is from 1956, thereabouts, 56 or 57. This is a 4-speaker. So the Tannhäuser, by the way, was their top line radio. Sort of like the Telefunken Opus. You can see it's got the little push button, sound register buttons here. You had 6 of these babies. The Germans always went up one-upping each other when they had the number of register buttons or variability, something to make them look better than the other. I think I've got a I think I've got one with is it 7 or 8 buttons. So, but yeah, this is a solid radio. The cabinet's great.
Or even
And that was,
shoo them away.
but anyway, there's a big, and also this is one of the heavier radios. I've always called it the Tannhäuser. It's a thing comes in at about, you know, it feels like a solid 30 pounds, easy 30 to 40 pounds. You lift and you're like, whoa. But at any rate, moving on. Oh, this was Roger's table for sure, because I remember I'm selling the Zenith, which I think someone grabbed.
Wow.
$50. This is pretty neat because you don't see them in this. In fact, I've never seen this in this color. In fact, that was
I had one that was kind of like a cream color, but I don't know if that was because the owner had smoked, with it in the room or something, but I had one just like that. It was a 3-bander with the early FM on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice, that one I caught and I stared at that one as well. Seriously thought about it. I think I probably would have grabbed it if it were like a different color, just because they didn't want white.
What typically happens is that the plastic front cover that's going over the numbers and everything, right where it says Zenith, it usually cracks right in the middle.
That's all right.
And in the eye. That one's perfect. Mine was perfect, but they're rare when they're unbroken. I don't know why they cracked there, other than maybe it was the mold line when it was injection molded or something.
Yeah.
He's going to go down the road and do something.
It was another tempting one. That was a nice radio, and also like we all agree, you actually don't see this one, but it looks that often. But it looks a lot like the Eames version from like the same year where that was the wood.
Oh, the wood with the brass trim on it. That's a pretty radio.
Exactly, but I think they borrowed a lot of that sort of design. It wouldn't surprise you the exact same chassis in there, because it has. I remember, because I have one. It has the same standard broadcast in both the early FM and the modern one, and which you can see obviously in the dial face and the tone also. I think it's like the same chassis, just a somewhat different cabinet variant. And that's why I didn't jump at this, because I already have this. While I don't really, I gave it to my sister as a gift because she loves that Art Deco Eames style. So I said, "Oh, here you go. Please enjoy."
Just be glad that the FCC went with the FM we have now, because if we went with Armstrong's FM, we'd all have 8-foot antennas on our car to get that.
Yeah. Well, there was a day when there were cars with that. They went up pretty high, but yeah, 8 feet is really kind of ridiculous. But that was a neat radio. I've rarely seen this cabinet style. Rarely seen it. I gave this a good hard look.
It looks like a Sky Buddy underneath of that one too, or a little Halcrafter Sky Buddy. Can you go back?
I certainly can. I might have a better picture later there, Bob, but let's go.
Underneath of that. A little Halcrafter Sky Buddy.
Yeah, as I say, you got it.
Yep. I only know that because I restored one for a guy a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
That's 19R.
Yes.
All right.
Which morphed into the S38 ultimately.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Roger had some good stuff. But this is kind of neat. This is a Lafayette receiver here.
Man, that is odd. You have three police bands on it.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of fun. If it had a useful band, that I wanted, I might have thought about it. But because I have a soft spot for some of these Lafayette gear, but I thought it was pretty cool. I don't remember what he was asking. I think the thing is sitting up, face down. So I don't really know.
It's pretty unique, but relatively useless by today's standards, though.
Yeah, that's why I kind of passed on that. It would have been a
Now,
novelty.
now everything is trunking.
Pardon me.
Yeah, I have the Realistic Pro 3A equivalent of that. And it still works with the first real radio I bought. I was working summers at Polaroid and saved up my overtime and bought it. I thought I might be able to make use of it. Nowadays, like with the sunspots, I thought maybe it's for doing a little VHF DX, but they're just, I don't know, it just doesn't bring anything in like the newer radios do. So just not worth it. But not to mention that, of course, it doesn't get any digital signals or anything like that. In fact, Radio Shack had a two-bander that was even more useless because the bandwidth was 15 kilohertz. They put it out just before everything started going to 5 kilohertz, and the only thing it picks up is pager signals.
Delightful.
Yeah.
I remember those pagers. I had to carry them for a while on my jobs.
Fortunately, I've never had the joy. But oh, here we go. So here,
That's
company.
pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty nice shape.
Well, what is that? Power supply? Yes, it's power. No, it's a.
A meter.
Yeah,
Meter.
looks like a
It's
meter.
just a meter. Okay.
Nice though.
A junior voltometer.
Hmm. Oh, here's this little Arvin needing a little bit of love. All for $20.
That's about the right
It's like a
number for
metal.
that.
Yeah, I would say so. It looks like it probably needs the full Monty, but you know, once done, you'd have a nice little enjoyable radio with a little bit of,
Sure,
Yeah.
you can DX stations on that up to 40 miles away.
How would you go about cleaning that? It looks, see,
I
think
think it's
a can of Krylon.
Yeah, that's,
I would say that's probably a metal case, and it would be.
Yeah,
best
I'm pretty sure it
for
is.
a,
you can see the
like
standard
a-
chips.
Go to a bead
case.
blaster or something like that to get it right, prime it, and then paint it whatever color you like.
yeah.
And if you know somebody who works in an auto body shop, they could do wonders for stuff like that. Next time a car comes in with the right color, say, hey, can you paint this while you're doing that car? That way they don't have to buy a separate thing of paint for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Make it your favorite car color just by your luck. Let's see what we got here. This is a. What is this?
Is that?
Emerson.
Electron.
No?
Electron. No, it says electronic.
Electro home?
Electro. Huh, it says like IC. It looks like electronic to me.
it'd be Electro Home Canada, Canadian brand.
That's what I was thinking.
It does look like it says electronic though. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading. This is the mystery radio. It was in really good shape.
Hmm.
You know, good, you know, it doesn't need a lot to clean up to look spiffy, but who the manufacturer is remains a little bit of a mystery. Polo, and not seen very often. Okay, now here we have a little bit of a,
Tenite problem.
sorry,
A little bit of a tenite problem.
yeah,
The grill.
yeah, this one looks, it would need a new,
That's a Texas radio. It was perfect until this afternoon when the temperature got up to 102.
and it was sitting by the window.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Here, it's kind of quiet out here. Go get that radio and bring it right next to the campfire.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess if, you know, this whole piece could be replaced because it looks like it's one whole piece. You could have yourself a nice, otherwise a cabinet, decent shape.
It's too bad. It's really a deco, really a nice deco piece right there.
Who makes this? What? Oh, there we go. Transitone, Philco. Oh, it's a Philco. That's right.
Looks like it's got 2 bands on it too,
Hmm.
Yeah.
up to 2.5
does.
megs.
Yeah, it's a nice little, you know, if you had a parts radio, this would be more than restorable.
You could 3D print that. Yeah, big one.
Yeah, actually, potentially, yeah. Brosley.
Looks like a lucite handle. Is that the way that came?
Yeah. They
Yes.
had those.
I didn't know that.
And they're always kind of odd because the dial scale is backwards. You know, usually the low end of the
Oh,
dial
yeah.
is on the left.
It took a page out of Grundig.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, is this spring loaded? You know, when you grab the
It is.
lucite.
I think, yeah, I think it's like some of the Emerson radios that have little springs underneath of it, so you can actually pick it up an inch or two and get
Yeah.
your fingers under there. What I'm kind of like blown away is that as I'm looking at where the dial sits in there, and Greg brings up the one point about the dial, but then I'm thinking of it as I was a plastics engineer for 30 years, and I'm seeing all the flash
Oh,
around
yeah.
the hole opening, and they didn't like sand that
They
down.
trim it out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point, Bob. You get to see the little warts exposed when you see the gap suddenly form with the dial face.
Hey, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, maybe there was a plastic lens or bezel across the front of that sort of hid that, and that piece is gone.
I don't think so.
No?
Yeah. The molding
They
that
actually-
happened during that era was pretty relatively primitive to what they do now. So,
Right.
but I guess Crosley didn't pay anybody to trim that off, so.
And what's good about that is the dial scale still has all its paint on it. Those are very prone to losing the paint on the backside.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a
no,
bad
that's a
shape.
great point, Greg. So a lot of Philcos had that problem
Yeah.
where the reverse paint would just like flake off. It's got a little bit of flaking, but it's still legible.
Yeah, because you can see that there is some that either flaked off or someone tried to paint some of this. I can't tell whether it's flaking or someone tried to do some repair.
Like if you look at number 7, that's getting pretty chipped already, but
Number 7, yeah.
yeah. Not
Yeah, I
bad,
think,
but
yeah. It's a rate. I'm sure Roger was asking a reasonable price. He did recap this one. I do know that. Red Lantern.
Red Lantern.
From the obviously from Asia, from China. You know, 3 band, 2 speaker. That's, so yeah, well, it's kind of it's unusual. It's in good shape actually.
You know, think of all these radios that we see that we have never seen before, such as that, and wonder just like what else is out there that we have absolutely never seen. I'm sure it'll show
Yeah.
up at some time. Yeah.
I think at every show I see something I haven't seen before. Sometimes just me, but there's amazing what little things show up on people's tables. And you have to look at it more than once to go through the tables, because I've gone through a table, got back and did something the first time and found
Like
something.
that little transmitter you bought from me.
Better believe it, buddy. That has been, I'm going to sing the praises one more time. That has been the best investment, modest investment I've done in a long time, because it's just awesome. So
I'm happy about it. I'm glad.
it's, yeah, I've just, I'm more annoyed myself that I didn't find one sooner, but I'm glad I found yours. But so here's a Grundig Ocean Boy. This is Screaming Carl because he is on the ocean right now. But a nice multi-band, mid-range multi-band radio.
Wow,
And
that is nice.
And in typical German fashion, they love push buttons, and why not continue that practice? But yeah, it's a nice little radio. I forgot whose table and what they were asking for. That was another radio I kind of looked at and said, but actually I picked up something else instead, which I did show before, but it will show up later in the pictures anyway, before I bought it. But see, even this, I think this can control speaker sound or turn the speaker off by that little switch. But yeah, it's actually a nice little radio. This is probably from the late 60s, early 70s, I would say, is right around that point. This might be these. Yeah, it's just all the different chart wave bands. I wanted to make sure there was no and it supports a auxiliary input too. That little thing in there could be like a reel-to-reel. It's a little symbol there. So it's actually a pretty
Does
flexible
it have
radio.
the VLF band on it?
Let's see.
150 kilohertz or so?
Let's see here.
400?
Looks like long wave to 30 megahertz and then
Yeah.
FM.
It
Yeah,
looks like at the
wondering-
very right
Yeah.
there, John. You see
Yeah,
how
that's
it
right.
goes? It goes down to 350 kilohertz.
Right, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
Kilohertz.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, I see the S meter. I'm willing to bet the handle rotates. It was an RDF.
I'm not sure on this, but I should have spent more time looking at it, to be honest.
Well, you should have known there'd be a test.
I'm sorry?
You should have known there'd be a test.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I'll do better
Yeah,
next time,
pivot.
boys. But yeah, it's a pretty nifty little radio. As I look at it more, it's funny how you actually, one little negative though, look at that, missing the little cap on the antenna. I guess you could find a replacement if you looked hard enough, for this antenna, but
What is that? meter?
otherwise, neat little radio. Signal strength, yeah, I'd say it's certainly mid to upper range, but not top range.
What does that meter do for a living?
I'm sorry?
What does that meter do? Is that signal strength or?
I think so, yeah. When you're I have one of mine, yeah, it's a signal strength.
You couldn't
It's
fit
probably
it.
dual purpose. It's signal
They
strength.
couldn't
and
fit an
battery.
eye tube in.
Yes, I was just gonna say, Bob, I think it does does also has battery.
Yeah,
Because you can flip the battery. You see this toggle switch here? Like I said, most of these level or higher radios always had AC or DC on there. So this one certainly qualifies. And this thing, I bet you
That would
weighs in.
also point to it being a RDF too.
Yeah, neat radio.
Yeah.
Lloyd's, we've seen that from here or there, but it's actually a nice little radio. Pretty good shape. MFM,
Lloyd's made a lot of above average stuff.
yeah. I wouldn't throw this stuff out.
It wasn't junk, but it wasn't like the top rung of the ladder, but it was darn close.
Yeah, that was
Quality stuff. I mean, I've seen the record players and tape recorders and all kinds of stuff. It was pretty good.
Yeah, and then you look at this, the bright work. I mean, it's not chintzy looking, So I'd say it's actually a nice little radio. And oscilloscope.
tech
Meg.
products.
Okay.
No, whose table that was, but that was for sale. Mickey Mouse clock. EE. I never looked at the little icons until now. You see all the little famous figures, Winnie the Pooh and Donald Duck.
I restored one of these for a guy a couple years ago, and the mouse the mouse knob where it's for the tuning and everything, the nose fell off. I had to repaint it and glue it back on for him.
Oh, you mean this one right here?
I guess Mickey was walking around saying. That's, by the way, that's a solid state radio. There's no tubes in it.
Right,
Oh,
So it
okay.
had a lot of the early germanium transistors in it, so it was a matter of recapping it and aligning it.
Oh, okay, so it's like, late 60s kind of style, is that right?
Yeah, probably. I guess 66, 67, and for that.
What was he asking here? $20.
That's more than fair.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you know what? It looks like the nose is still there. Just needs to be
Yeah, the
painted.
nose didn't fall off.
Yeah, so, hey, for a little kid who loves Walt Disney stuff.
I think that what they had was on the clock face, they had characters of like Donald Duck and a lot of the other Disney characters. that
Right.
I don't know how well.
Yeah,
A 6 is
sense.
Winnie the Pooh. I recognize that.
Dalmatians, Donald Duck.
9 is a fawn. That might be Bambi.
Yeah, that's correct. And that must be
So-
the elephant.
Yes,
Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Dumbo,
Right.
thank you.
7 looks like Daisy Duck because she's in drag. I can't be Donald. Donald's up the top there.
Right.
So
You don't
it
think
had
we
all
got a
the,
little
all
bit
the
of Disney-
Disney influence on that radio, clock radio.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a kid who really loves, the Disney stuff and it's solid state, you'd have a instant, a little restoration. You'd have an instant gift.
Sure.
Oh, I know. This was I know the
Slide
vendor.
rule.
Yeah, this is a B&O. This is a B&O. Yeah, slide rule. It's a B&O.
Oh, Bang & Olufsen.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, 'cause I have no idea what that was.
Yes, Paul.
Need
this
lots
is
of
Paul-
deoxit on one of those.
Yeah. This was, I actually looked at it. It was really, I really liked that. I gave it a lot of thought as well. That's Paul Lavoie's stable. And it's a really nice shape, and it's not one you see very often. I thought it was pretty slick looking. But I did keep myself in check, so I did not.
It's gotta be an import because I'm looking at the FM scale and it's only going up to 104 megs.
Yeah, so this puts you right into the very late 60s, maybe early 70s. I forgot when they finally cut over to 108 to the full, additional 4 more megahertz. But I think the Germans, I think this is late 60s, is when they adopted the up to 104, and then there was another final where they were all the full spectrum.
I just remember you could just gradually increase the volume, sliding the volume control as you listen to first the left and then the right speaker cutting out and coming back in and coming out and coming back in, because it was just terrible slide controls.
John, I have a question for you, if you're a little familiar with that. I'm looking at those little thumb wheels on the lower right-hand portion of the,
Yeah.
are those presets?
Presets,
No.
station presets, I
Oh,
thought. Or
down
was it
here,
an
yeah,
equalizer?
those are those I believe are presets.
So it's
Um,
kind of
so
like
yeah.
the KLH or some of the other
Right.
American
I-
and German radios at that time, they had that.
I have a Rank Arena T2600 from the early 70s that have the mechanical presets. They have their own little scale. You lock it in to it. It's nifty from a mechanical standpoint. It's actually pretty cool.
So you set them over there with the little wheels and then you select them with the little switches that are labeled 1 through 6 over to the left?
Oh, I
Ah.
see. Look at that.
That would seem about right. Yes, these would be the presets.
Ah.
So it's all a electromechanical marvel, I guess. Chances are they work.
Multiple points of failure.
Yeah, that's what the problem. It's true, Noah, because even like the Rank Arena, I mean, mine works beautifully. It's in really nice shape. Teak. It's got your teak wood, real teak. That and the black floating dial face. And it's a pretty nifty radio. Works great. The thing I did like about this, you can see that it's got the little for dialing. You don't have to slide this on top. You're actually using the little thumb wheels to do your tuning for more, you can get more refined tuning that way. But yeah, it was a nifty receiver. I hadn't seen one of these before, so I thought it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, if you get really good at it, you can do square roots and things on it too.
Well, that's the thing. It's a multi-purpose thing. It has a little pop-up
I
knife. You can use it for cutting and
Two phonograph inputs. I mean, that's FM only. That's kind of unique, rare.
yeah, I would say so. I thought it was quite caught my eye, really. I said, I not mind owning one of this. It's got also
Not practical. Yeah, not practical by any means today, but kind of just cool.
yeah, that's the thing. It actually has a cool look factor to but hey, I'm sure this takes we think here. Let me see if I see anything. I have to believe. Now I could be wrong. I have to believe this took auxiliary input, but I see no button to actuate it. So maybe you're right, Howard. Maybe this is really kind of no. Wait, hold on, phono. So you do have takes auxiliary input. So you would at least have either FM or your auxiliary or tape.
I'm seeing a tape input on the left of those buttons.
Yeah. So actually, it would work for me because for the right speakers, I do a lot of auxiliary. So, or if I don't do auxiliary, I'm doing my little AM. That this wouldn't work too well for me with my SS Tran, but I like it though. It was pretty cool.
I bet it's chock full of things that are labeled in nano Siemens and all kinds of funny things like that too.
Yes, it's eye catching. It's something that some comes to your house and you can spend a half hour talking about it. Showing little features. Oh yeah, this was nice. What knows? He actually has a better one. He had a couple of these. Same vendor, Paul. He had a couple of he had a stereo concert boy, which is a nice radio. They sound good. They are great receivers, and they have all this is sort of roughly their equivalent of a stereo TO. Top end TO. Nice little nice system. With even balance, the whole 9 yards. This was Bruce's table, not he came down to sell a bunch of things on behalf of somebody else. Bruce Burgess, that is. Sorry, I should have clarified. And one of these I thought was kind of interesting. It's this Philips. Well, it's actually an Norelco, but it's essentially a Philips. But these receivers are actually rather nice. They're actually also the speakers are on the side. Apparently this works, but it had some, minor things that we need to fix kind of situation. But it looked pretty much all there, and a good cleaning and probably some lubrication will get you a long way. Here, it's got the sound register and also stereo control buttons here, neat system. You don't see these all the time, but they are pretty popular and they're actually pretty nice sounding systems. So that was one of the things he was selling. He was selling this realistic equalizer. Do you like a lot of levers? This is your opportunity. That was kind of neat.
Got a bad tweeter on the right channel.
Sorry?
There's a bad tweeter on the right channel that it's hooked up to. See, they had to crank the gain at 10 kilohertz.
Oh,
on the
I
right
see what you
speaker.
mean. Yeah. Yeah, this was a estate sale that he was doing on behalf of a friend. They had this Crosley, very early Crosley, try or die. 3R3, $30. Oh, Pioneer. Stereo tuner. We have here Harman Kardon. AM, FM. Very nice. And here is a radiola.
Radiola,
Trying to see what this
RCA radiola.
Yeah. Very early. Looking to see if they had a mall on that, but I don't see it.
It looked like a version of the 20, but I've never seen one in that setup before. Usually they're in a slanted case.
Yeah, that was unusual.
I've seen that before. I just don't remember the model number.
He's asking $40 for it. Neat. It was, yeah, first time I've ever seen one of those. So
I think that there was actually inside that used to be laying flat inside of a console. You lifted up the top and it had the Victrola to the left of it. It looks like the cabinet is homemade and they just took the panel out and screwed it onto the homemade cabinet. I could be
I
wrong,
get it.
but that's, it doesn't look like, yeah.
that feels right, Howard. I think you nailed it because it doesn't seem the casing doesn't seem to match the front.
No, it's definitely homemade. Howard's got a great point.
Yeah. It
Hey,
just,
Howard, you know what my dream is?
What's that?
To run one of the Gonset converters into those.
Ah. All right, I'll put that on the bucket list.
Okay.
that's funny. And there's a few turntables and speakers that Bruce was selling as well. Which is what we got here.
Dual.
The United?
Well, it's a
United Audio,
dual.
that's-
United Audio is dual.
Oh, thanks. I did not know that was called the alternate label for that.
Yep. KLH.
ALH. Actually, yeah, it's what is actually intriguing because I didn't look at this that carefully, but is this maybe a radio and phonograph?
Yeah, it could be.
Because they did make some of those European ones, and I kind of looked right through it. Now I'm kind of annoyed myself. Maybe I should have rethought that when I kind of looked right through it. I would like to get a turntable at some point. So I do still have some vinyl that I'd like to play, but the right connections, really, I've just connected to one of my radios, but Bogan. Might have been on Bruce's table as well, if memory serves. Yeah, it was.
Pretty decent transformers in it.
Yeah. And there's another one behind that there. That's a second shot. Yeah, here's another one. The 8115. Marantz.
Cute little
Amplifier.
1060.
Yeah, amplifier. Nice enough. This, I think, was on Bruce Phillips' table. GE stereo. It looks genuine stereo, and it even has FM, so you could actually say I have bona fide stereo. None of this AM quasi stereo.
I don't know, where's the balance knob?
Well, you had to ante up for the higher end model. Yes, you get stuck with just 2 speakers and. Yeah. But in fact, you can actually enable stereo.
Yep.
Seriously, stereo was independent. I wonder, I don't see any function of auxiliary input, so you had to turn on FM stereo to get up FM mono, I guess, then you turn it to stereo. Curious. Bruce had one of these. In fact, he offered this to me, this Grundig. I think it's either a 4570 or a 4070. They look almost identical. I forget what if
Who
there's
knew?
a difference. But I have one already. I have the same radio, and I didn't. I thanks Bruce because it was very kind of him to offer this to me for reasonable. But I didn't need a duplicate. So, but they sound great. They, I've always sort of said, well, appearance wise, they don't have, they're okay looking. The next year, the follow was much nicer because they used the wood slats in front of the grill cloth that really kind of, made it a little more interesting to look at. But you can't beat the sound. The sound is quite nice on these, and these support 2 auxiliary speaker output. So I have a 4-speaker. I have a couple of period Grundig bookshelf speakers for the same year, maybe just a few years earlier, but in the same finish. Mine looks exactly like the same finish as this. And they sound great. 4 speakers, can't beat it. And I spent I think between I spent more for the speakers than I did for the system. So for the total investment, I think it was under $100. So can't complain with that. Oh, here's one of those retro radios, Crosley.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, these are one of the nicer ones. I always like these. Like, if I'm going to have a retro one to look at, these are one of the more pleasing ones to look at. Airline. Pretty good shape.
Well, that's even got a little hammer tone finish to that.
Yeah, I like it. I like
Makes
it.
it look like a work lunchbox that
I was
talks.
just gonna say, almost a lunchbox, not quite.
Well, there might be space in the back to keep your hot sandwich warm. This, yeah, it looks
Said on
all
the
there. I
record
think
too.
that's a nifty little radio. What do we have here? Oh, let's see the label.
Olympic.
Speaker. Olympic. Aha. Pretty nice, actually. So look at it more. It's actually, I guess, one of these portable radios with the handle. The handle looks a little bit. You have some problems there. Them is broken off or something here. That's actually kind of nifty with this, with the plastic grill.
Yeah.
Actually, pretty neat. I think this is another, retro radios. I think there's FM on this. Is it? Yes. It says FM. It's from 19. Oh, I guess it's meant to be. It's supposed to be from. Says 1934. I guess in terms of what it's trying to reproduce.
Mhm.
It's Crosley's or Thomas's or say Thomas. Yeah.
Oh, that's the cheap model. It doesn't have a cassette deck on it.
Nah,
It
it's
may,
bare-
you just may not be able to see it.
That's
on the
true.
side.
Well, let's see. Does it have a? No, it just
I
says
just see
AM.
FM, AM, AFC. That's it.
Oh, when you
Yeah.
push the cassette in, it overrides all of that.
Oh, is that how that works?
Right.
I think so.
Oh, that might be. I didn't look in the back there. You see this is, I think, is also another. I forgot if I took a picture. This is another retro radio. But these were actually pretty nifty looking, at least on the looking at it from the. Wouldn't embarrass
That's
having
based
that on
on
the show.
based
Sorry?
on an RCA. It's based on an RCA or a GE, like a model 121, I think, 1933. Yeah.
I think it's pretty, they're pretty nifty.
Mhm.
Tom Scarpelli's table, man with all the tubes, and always a good deal too. He always sent down here is his radios that he's restored or selling.
Hey, John, before
Yeah.
you move on,
Sure,
go back to that picture.
Sure.
Isn't that, it says tomatoes. Isn't that supposed to be an O in that tomatoes?
that's a very good question. And I get
Well,
Sunset
you know what,
Tomatoes.
happened, Howard? It
Oh.
might have been printed by Dan Quayle's son. Remember, he couldn't spell potato?
Because no potato, yeah.
That might be Dan Quayle's kid working at the factory, the box factory.
Yeah.
That's just a little graphic error.
I wonder though, I think Sunset may come from Mexico. Do they spell in Spanish or they spell it that way?
I'm gonna have to look that up, and I have no idea why I noticed that, but,
Tomates.
No, good
Tomates.
catch
Funny,
there.
I love it.
It's
Anyway.
tomates.
okay.
It looks like you've taken an action item, Howard.
I thought it was cost cutting.
Yeah, that could.
Oh,
That's
well.
funny. But they do.
Anyway.
Actually, Sunset Tomatoes are pretty good. There's a certain batch I happen to really like. So I guess Tom finds they're a perfect match for his for their 2 boxes. The size is right, even if it is debatable in the spelling.
You know, now I think about it, I never saw you know, they just had the National Spelling Bee on. I don't think they've ever had a winner from south of the border, have they? When I
That's
think about
another interesting factoid. So there we
No,
go.
because they, down there, they got a different word for everything.
It's funny. I think this was one of Tom's radio. This
Well, it's different.
PM.
final Limo Metron. Wow, now
I
that's
guess you
not
only
a name
listen
you
to
see
that at
very
night.
often. What's
No,
that?
that's definitely, that's not a household word right there.
No, you rarely see these. It's actually pretty neat. It says, according to Tom, new caps, new line cord, new volume control,
Control.
$35. That's actually that's a pretty good deal.
Almost
And you-
looks sort of kind of RCA-ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could be the only kid in the block with one because how many times do you see these? I rarely see these.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, probably. That's probably true.
You know, but if I were there, I probably would have bought the thing myself because it's so different. I mean, you know, that's one thing that's cool about you guys up in New England. You're showing tonight a lot of like stuff that we never see in Jersey or Pennsylvania. This is.
I wonder if you can get the schematic for that off in Nostalgia Air.
Probably not.
This is probably, I'm gonna guess, early, like maybe, late 40s, maybe late
I
50s.
would say that's probably like a AA5 in GT form.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a pretty, I actually think it's attractive looking with sort of the burnt style wood, sort of the technique they use a lot with the German radios.
I like the pillars in the front that's giving you the feel of like a console, but it's a table set.
Yeah, no, I think it's got a rich look for I mean, it's probably, like you said, it's probably uninspired inside, but outside, it looks pretty inspired.
I think maybe it was just in a fire.
Well, that's how the Germans. A lot of those German radios were in a fire. That because I've got that same finish. It's like it was almost like it copied it or something. I like it. It's pretty nifty. It's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's got some minor stuff, but although it's got a little bit of a stuff going on there, I guess. But it's pretty cool. Price is right. Air cheap.
Yeah.
Very cheap.
$45.
That's very fair for that.
Something, let's see here, as found, parts or so, there is a caveat, but it's a pretty
Ah.
nice shape. Cabinet wise, I mean, geez, and all
Yeah,
the
the
knobs are there, and
Push
yeah,
buttons.
dial face isn't all melted.
yeah, I mean, it's a really nice shape.
Definitely
I-
worth a look at trying to fix it, that's for sure.
Right. That's kind of my thinking. It might be worth a flyer, you know? But it's a very attractive radio. Look great on a table.
At least you have honest sellers up there too, like, you know, like half the guys down here are like, oh, this radio was bought brand new by the original owner.
Yeah.
Then it's like, you know, potluck from there.
Yeah.
Worked last time it ran.
Right.
Yeah.
Worked when
It
new.
worked the last time it got used.
Yeah,
That's funny.
they don't mention it was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's the caveat. We won't tell you when I last run it, but it did run. Let me see here. This might have been Roger's table. He had a bunch of books he was selling. And he bought a second table and just said, please put your money in on it. Yes, it was Roger. I recognized the basic radio. He had a full set. I almost bought it because it was like, had the full set for like really cheap. It would have been just fun to look at. And I looking back, I should have bought that. But
All on the honor system.
You could
yeah.
have a little fun with that and just like maybe drop $2 in the jar and then just add like 10 books that you didn't want to the table.
He comes with more than he brought.
And then he's like scratching his head. He's like, wait a minute, somebody put money in. Which book did they take?
I think
I'm sorry,
Bob's
I'm
thinking
playing
from
Messing with
experience.
Roger. Yeah, see, we got some solid safe here. We got some Sony tape deck and an Onkyo, another Sony Mega storage.
Oh, that's one of those 100 disc things.
Yeah, I guess so. 200 CDs,
Yeah.
200 CDs.
Wow.
2 billion CDs. Yeah, the thing will just swallow them and maybe it just crunches them up or something. Seems like I don't know how you get 200 in there, but I'll take it on blind faith they can.
One at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Maybe it's play limit. It can only do 200. I'll stop.
No,
working.
one at a time, go in the front door, and then you've got to like that dial, and it gives you like an alphabet so that you can actually enter one letter at a time, the name of the artist on the CD. It's totally obnoxious.
I
There we
forget when they came out. It was like 95 or 96 when they first started coming out.
Yeah.
And they had like 100 and 200 and those things were like stupidly expensive.
Yeah.
It was crazy money. It's just weird. It's just weird to see one out here.
Some neat stuff. A digital analog converter. Very interesting.
Another equalizer.
Sound Craftsman. Just curious to see what the name was like. Didn't even look at it. Sound Craftsman. Huh.
A box full of LM318 op amps.
Hmm. These are interesting speakers. I know nothing about them, but I thought I forgot who the seller was, but they're sort of like these 3-piece speakers almost. There's 2 of them. These big wide speakers. They look like little mini Magna Planar speakers. You ever see a Magna Planar?
Oh, yeah.
They're very unusual. My dad's cousin has a set from the early 70s. These things stand in an easy 6 foot tall. And they're probably about, I don't know, 3-4 feet wide. You gotta have space for this thing. You got 2 of them, and they're big, but they have unusual technology. I'd love to hear them, but they're all boxed away. Here's a reel-to-reel, a high speakers. What kind of Polk audio speakers and turntable of some sort. Narvin.
Yes,
It's actually a pretty nice shape, other than just a little bit of, maybe fixing in the grill cloth area. A nice little radio, nice shape. One of the upper end Arvins. Usually see these little small Arvins. I guess what we call an upper end.
Arvin made some nice radios. Even in
Yeah.
transistor form, they made some nice ones.
Yeah, this is pretty. Good volume control, and there's the volume control on that one. What does that say? Is that tone? I'm confused. It has 2 volume control buttons. That doesn't make any sense. Or is there a mistake?
One must be a tone.
I was thinking that maybe they lost one of the tone button and they use a volume.
That was probably a knob replacement at one time.
Yeah. They say there's no 2 speakers here.
Oh, that's a rare bird right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's very nice.
39 Zenith.
Yeah,
Was
it's
this
great
yours,
to get
Howard?
one of those Zeniths that's not a console that you can pick up.
It's almost as heavy as a console.
Yeah,
see
but
that.
the footprint it's all in the footprint.
Yeah,
Right.
you get a big table to keep it on.
I guess the only
Yeah,
issue with this radio is
that's the only drawback.
the only thing is these little flip switches that break away. The plastic gets brittle and they start breaking away.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure you can just run down to You Do It Electronics and get a whole set of those. It should not be a problem.
Yeah. Nifty radio though, and with the tuning on.
Not sure if Renovated Radio still
Working.
makes those.
This is Howard. Is this your radio?
Yeah, I sold that for very low money, if I remember correctly. And the whole thing is it worked beautifully and sounded nice, but the on-off pull switch there didn't work. So you
Okay.
plugged it in and it came on.
Mhm.
I got it. It's a really neat radio. Really neat.
Nice set.
A few keys.
Where's Tom?
Yeah, I guess Tom is still traveling.
Uh-huh.
He's out in Europe. In fact, he might be going to Hamfest in Germany, so maybe I'll have a fresh deck of photos to show us when he's back. He's back in July. So, you German radio lovers, there'll be plenty to see. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. They told him take lots of photos. Oh, there was a gentleman, I forget his name, brought in these really cool vintage computers that all worked. He was they were running live demo, this digital deck scope. And one of these actually had voice output, actually digitized voice. It was cool. It's all booting up.
So it sounded like Max Headroom.
Yeah, almost, but it was actually pretty good. It was actually legible. It was certainly legible.
If I remember correctly, it was a female voice almost.
Was it?
Yeah, well, the few words that I heard were.
Maybe you're right. Maybe, I was hearing it in the background. If I was not, when I heard it, I was not adjacent to it. The Crosley, the American Overseas. There are a few of those. I think you'll see duplicate photos because I think there's more than one for sale. Or I might have taken a couple of duplicates, like I've warned you guys. I might have occasionally forget, but I always err in making sure I get a photo as opposed to never getting one. I like these. These must have a nice lit dial face. I assume these like twin bulb dial
Bulb,
face.
yeah. Mhm.
So they look nice. Nice big dial face.
And the dial lens is very nice on that. Usually they're cracked up in the corners or yellowed or.
Yeah, that one's in
this-
really nice shape.
Are these a single speaker, Greg?
One speaker on the side, yeah.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure whether there were. I doubted there were 2, but I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, I think they date from like 1945, 46.
Yeah, that seems right. And they take a phono input, obviously.
Yeah. Because they made that Victory model, it's brings a lot more
Yeah.
money than those.
Yeah. I don't mind having one of these though. It's really quite nice. I don't know what they were asking because I can't see the tag. The tag is upside down or underneath the radio.
Hippo.
A hippo.
Yes, I must have taken that from the
Interesting.
strange
Yeah, it's
direction.
just- That's the left-handed version.
Yeah,
Tipped over.
yeah. I'm not sure how I took it that way, but there we go. Feel better now.
That's it.
Otherwise, I was like, "Oh, you guys standing up. I'm standing upside down, on your heads." I said, "Now it looks right." Yeah, there we go. That's a nice shape too. Does this have a single bulb, Greg, or is this a dual?
Well, it's got one bulb in the middle and then there's like a fiber optic needle that the light bulb shines through it. It looks pretty cool when it's lit up at night.
I thought that had something unusual. That's why I asked the question or something.
I've probably done a dozen of those already. They're nice
Those
radio.
are right. Here's, I think what this is. Not jumping at me.
Hmm.
Yep. There's some various.
I want to say that 3-dialer might be a homemade or a kit or something happened because the two outside dials are Masco and the inner one is a national, or at least it appears that way.
Okay.
No, that's not,
Interesting.
well, maybe. Yeah, it looks like a national. It's hard to say.
Yeah, but you might be onto something there, Howard. Sure. There's a crystal radios. There's another one. Cool. I just got a close up of that same one, I guess.
Oh, there's the tickler. Okay.
Yeah. Aerophone. Bunlock. Guess it says maybe the make and model. Bunlock. Rochester, New York. And an E. Ah, old military telephones, field telephones.
Rat Patrol.
Each one of these weigh about 25 pounds.
They're good for about a mile.
Polo. The ever-present. These are almost assuredly found in every radio swap meet, but this is in pretty nice shape.
There's usually a letter and then I think it's 723.
Yeah.
So the
H or
letter is
something.
dependent on the year of manufacturer. They're decent radios, but there's a guy in the New Jersey club that loves these radios, and for some reason, everybody sends him to me because they think I'm the silver mica expert. So on 3 of those radios, I think I've had to do like silver mica bypass surgery on some of the IF cans on FM as well.
Oh,
Which is
wow.
crazy, yeah.
Here it is. It's an A724G.
Oh, 724, okay. So that's the
20
later
bucks.
one. That's like
57
every
according to
year.
this. 57 is what I think it says here.
57, that sounds right, yeah.
20 bucks. It's actually pretty reasonable for a radio in pretty nice shape. Has everything, including the little the insignia.
It's actually
Those
a
are-
decent radio when they're working and there's like a little red dot to let you know, just kind of like above where the,
Yeah,
right there. So when you turn it on, it just lights up a bulb.
yeah.
You know, rather than go through the entire painstaking and obnoxious process of trying to get rid of the silver mica disease, I found that the right people, you can actually get 10 times as much for the radio, not fixing it, and you sell it as like a sleep machine that they can go to sleep with at night, listening to the thunderstorm that comes out of the speaker.
That's a
Good idea.
capital idea.
Oh, that's funny.
You might even get the smell of burnt, you know,
Yeah, you get ozone. out of it
Ozone,
if you
you get-
mess around with the
Yeah, it
power
cleans the
supply.
air.
and if you get close up, you might actually get zapped for the pulse.
It's much preferable than trying to change out those stupid silver mica
Oh,
caps.
Yeah, I
Zenith
really
is
like the
good.
guy who's got a couple of antique cars that are really nice, and I'm an old car guy too, but man, I don't know, I already just, no more, no mas. Done. Don't want to do any more of them. It's just, I could do it. It's painstakingly difficult to do it though.
Well, Zenith's had some really difficult cans too. They had a real big piece of mica in the bottom, a circular piece that it's hard to get out. You
Yeah.
gotta cut the little tabs off so they don't make contact again.
Well, on these radios, you'd have to look at a schematic, and I don't have one in front of me. But one of the cans is that it's got AM and FM in one can.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Those
And I-
are real interesting.
I'll
Yep, and
bet.
I can't remember if it was Zenith or Magnavox. I want to say, I think it was a Zenith, but it was the only radio I ever encountered where the FM did not use 10.7 as the IF. It had some other oddball frequency,
Oh, boy.
and it was it was just a total nightmare.
Yeah.
But when they work well. I mean, but it's kind of like a German radio.
Yep.
It's true. It's true. When they everything's working, the Germans, it's hard to beat, but boy, they can drive you bananas. That's, yeah, so, $20 is pretty fair. Now, of course, it could be a nice case with all the silver mica disease, and that's why it's $20. But otherwise, that's a pretty good deal, especially if it works.
Yeah.
There you go. Some little test equipment demo for pattern generator.
Pattern generator. 2235 Tektronix.
I have a question. What do
Hey,
you
Hugh.
replace? What do you? Hi. Sorry, I got in late. What do you replace the silver micas with? New silver micas?
You don't
Mike-
really have to use a silver mica, but I prefer using them. There's a couple ways you can do it. If there's room inside the can, you could put it inside the can. I'm kind of a little bit lazy, and I kind of just get the mica wafer out, and then I just put it outside on, if I can do it that way, I just put it on the pins and solder them up that way.
It's easier.
Okay, thanks.
It certainly is, like Greg said, it's the easy way out.
What
Oh, yeah.
value are those caps?
Is it like
Mm,
110?
180.
I bought like 110s off of eBay, and I had to do an FM one. That was kind of interesting, and I think that was like a 40 puff. If my memory serves me correctly.
So even with the disease, you can measure them, because I'm assuming the schematic doesn't say.
I can't, well, I have this technique of, I have one of those like El Cheapo Chinese
Oh,
app
yeah.
checkers,
I got
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
and I can strap one onto a can and hit a button, and if I can get a resistance and a inductance on one side or the other or both, then I know it's a good can. But if I'm not getting it, then I know there's a problem.
Right, but how do you know what value to put in when you replace the cap?
Oh, I didn't know, I ran into that same problem, Carl. And ironically, the guy that I was fixing those Zenith radios for, he found somewhere on the dark side of the web, a Zenith specification thing on what the values are supposed to be in those cans.
Okay.
And it was amazing. I told him, I said, put it on reflector and let everybody know that. So we have an email reflector for our club, and that went out. And I think I downloaded it to my shop computer just so I have it just in case.
And you put the wrong value in when you can't peak the IF coil. That's how I found out.
Well, I mean, if you're close though, Howard, I've been able to tune it. I mean, it probably doesn't work as well as probably it should, but the amount of difference is negligible. You really can't tell.
No, it sounds much better than static and thunder.
Yeah, exactly.
This is true, but someone like me who actually put a very wrong value in realized that, hey, I can't peak this IF coil. I did something wrong, and found out, yeah, I put in the totally wrong value.
I think if you're within like 5 to 10% of the value, you're all right.
Oh, absolutely.
Unit.
Yeah, but figuring out that starting point can be a challenge if it's not on the schematic of the radio.
More than
if you have an
100, more than
inductance
100,
bridge-
less than 200.
There you go.
Yes, exactly. That becomes a guessing game.
If you have an inductance bridge though, and you can measure the inductance of your IF coil, now you can just take and calculate what your capacitor is supposed to be if you want to get the 455 kilohertz or whatever your IF frequency is. What I actually ended up doing is putting a trimmer capacitor on, peaking the trimmer capacitor, removing the trimmer capacitor, measuring the capacitance that I got off of it, which was 120 puffs.
Ah,
That's how I got there.
That's a great point. And I was watching another YouTuber on YouTube. His name is Shango. I don't know if anybody you guys ever watched Shango.
yep.
And he did a video about 4 years ago, and I kind of like listened to what he said, and I did the same thing myself. And that's exactly what you're saying. I had a scrap radio that just had the caps up on top, just little trimmers. Little I forget what the range were. It was like between, I don't know, 50 and 130 puff or something like that on two different trimmers. It came out of IF can on one of them earlier 40s radios or 30s radios. And I salvaged that, and I actually measured it, what the range was, and I could clip lead that in, and just, if I was blind and I didn't know what the value is, I could use that, then clip it on to my cheap Chinese tester, and it'll tell me, okay, it's 112 puff. All right, so I gotta get 110. Whatever it happened to be. But that's actually a great idea. I actually learned that myself from someone else. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make this into a big tech thing. This is showing.
No, that's Bob. No, that's the whole point of these.
I'm sorry. I know enough. I'm not as smart as some of you guys, but I know enough to be dangerous.
No,
That's the question. Thank you.
all these tips are always helpful.
You
Sorry, go ahead.
the oscillator too. Set it at the IF frequency, and then tune the cap through, and you'll get to the same place.
Yeah, no, this is all good information.
I love my GDO.
Wow, that's a nice one.
Yeah, this was on Paul Lavoie's table. He sold this one. This one is about as nice a Grundig as you're going to find for a higher end multi-band. This is the forgot which one's the
That's one of the satellites, I think.
It's a satellite, and this is really nice. Plus, he had the rarely found case. He's got a carrying case we never see these with, never. So
That's what kept that thing so nice.
Oh, and look at it. I mean, the thing looks like it rolled out of the showroom. It really was that nice, and someone grabbed it. I'm sure he got. I'm sure this was like $200 or $300 radio. I guess it's that nice. I don't think you sell this for cheap, like they're cheap. But if you want a really nice Grundig, this was about as nice you're gonna find almost anywhere. Just everything, all the chrome trim is just like, I did stare. I admired it when I saw it. I said, "Wow, this is really, really nice." you know, all the thumb wheels, everything is just looks like pulled out of the factory. Most everything Paul has on his table, most of it are a really nice shape, or he's restored it to a really high level. I think I've shown his work in the past. You know, some of his Philcos and Crossleys and so forth. I think he did this Crossley. In fact, Jason, I think it's a Crossley.
I think it's a filter.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I knew, Greg, you'd be able to catch that and correct me if I was wrong. Thank you.
The model 90?
90, yeah. Yeah, he restored them. Look at the, I mean, he does really nice work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's asking 370. So it's, you know, you put a lot of labor of love in this. That is nice. You'll find restored. I'm sure it's perfect.
It's actually a good price too for those. Those always commanded pretty good money.
Yeah, that was my sense. I don't know if he sold it, to be honest, but I know he sold the Grundig because he had told me, and I was admiring. I sold this, so I'm not surprised.
Do we dare say winner, winner, chicken dinner?
That's right. And 12 winner chicken dinners.
Exactly.
Good catch. And all the words are spelled correctly. Oh, this was Bill Dunn's. Bill Dunn was selling this. I really like this, but you know, it was a really actually cost.
Is that a 10 or a 12 tube chair side?
I don't know. It might even have a phonograph inside down below.
Yeah, looks like it could.
We have one of these in our museum, and it's got the phonograph built in, and you hit a button and the door opens up. It's got a motor. The door opens up slowly, and then the turntable comes out the side.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I don't think this has that, but that is really cool. Oh, that's an electromechanical nightmare, however, Bob.
It works. At least it worked the last time. I haven't been to the museum in a few months, but the last time I saw it work, it worked.
That's cool. Yeah, I know Bill. In fact, some of you may recall, he had pre-listed this over our, email exploder, and to generate interest, he began to grab this. If I had space for a chair side, I would have grabbed it. But I think I've got other photos of this later. I think I came back and circled back, but it was a pretty nice GE.
Yeah.
Pretty nice shape.
2 shortwave bands.
Yeah, all complete. Very attractive radio. Actually, even the grill cloth, so everything is really pretty nice shape. Oh, another Lafayette was
with the concentric dials. See the bass treble, volume balance, they're like nested. There's an outer one and an inner one. You have to hold one while you turn the other.
Oh boy.
Really?
Yeah, there's one per channel. So it's stereo.
Oh.
So there are 2 bass controls and 2 treble controls, and then a volume and a balance control.
For all the times you want more bass out of the left speaker than the right one.
Well, it all if you got a tweeter going south, you might have to boost the treble on one channel. It's
That's very interesting. I did not know that, and there's no
That's a
guidance.
point.
They probably stole that dumb idea from Fisher.
No, they
receivers
stole
have
it. They
that.
stole it from the candy maker Rolos. The Rolos. Look at those things. Those knobs are just little Rolos that are one on top of the other.
Well, that's what you replace it with when you lose them.
Yeah. Now I had way too many Lafayette products in my youth. I was a Lafayette guy, not a realistic guy.
Oh, you weren't a Tandy guy.
No.
You were unrealistic.
I was. I still am very unrealistic.
That looks like a Zenith Royal 500 transistor sitting on top of it.
Oh yeah, good catch there, Bob. I forgot whose table this was. I'm sure whether this is Arts or not.
And what's below it?
Yeah, what's
Magnetic and ceramic phono inputs. That's really interesting.
Oh yeah, magnetic and ceramic. Come on, we got both kinds, country and western.
Yeah, this actually, this little device has a actually pretty feature rich.
I don't recall the strange blue button, though. I always
the
thought
power
my
button?
power button was a black button, not a blue button, but I don't know.
I don't know. Does this button light? I don't know. I guess not.
Maybe that one does. I don't know. The ones I
Like
had
I wonder
always
if you
just
press
had
it
a
on,
black
but like,
button.
because it almost looks like it could be like a clearish blue, not a solid
Yep.
opaque blue.
No, you're right. That one might light up. Got to be able to find the power switch in the dark after a long night of partying, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Turn everything off and tell people to leave. And someone say,
I read
"How do I
read
change
about
the
that
bass
on the internet
on the right
somewhere.
speaker?"
Yeah, I have no personal experience with that. I've just read about it on the internet. So.
RCA.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
Classic RCA Victor. That's pre-war, I think.
Yep.
It went to 170. The later ones went to 160. Those were the post-war ones. That's a decent radio right there.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty nice shape. You could get away with this without actually doing any painting. I mean, he's got some nicks, but nothing that's so awful. Probably even touch it up, and then if you really wanted
You
to,
could find the close white and try to touch that up, and
yeah, that's my
leave it
thinking
alone.
too. You know, and if you grew tired of it, then you get more serious and get the paint off. Channel Master.
Channel Master. Ooh.
Yeah.
that's a 6 transistor version. That's a early one. It's in
Yeah,
nice shape, though.
Yeah, it is a very nice shape. Actually, the little handle, no, yeah, nice shape.
They were made by Sanyo, and they made some really good. Oh, actually, he's got a bunch of them on the table there. I see behind
Yeah.
he's got a couple super fringes. Those are 8 transistors with a tuned RF. I actually won the DX contest one year with the club using one of them.
Really?
Transistor category, yeah. Decent little radios.
Huh.
Got kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews you want to get them started, get them one of them. I'll tell you what, they won't be disappointed.
Does that Channel Master work better if you have it connected to a Channel Master antenna on the top of your house?
I think
70
by then someone, I think Channel Master sold their name or something like that to somebody else.
Well,
And,
sure, the
I
marketing
remember seeing
people-
a lot of Channel Master antennas as a
You
kid.
got to get the 75-mile range color TV antenna if you're living in Southern Connecticut and you want to pick up those New York stations.
That's right. I'm sure those Channel Master would the marketing people would love it if they could sell an antenna with your radio.
I would
with a
just love
rotor.
I would just love if they went back to analog TV. Because
Yeah.
then you know when you get some what do you call it? You get some propagation going, you could pick up some stations a couple hundred miles away.
Yep.
Tough. You can still do it with digital, but it's really
It drops off.
it
It goes pretty. Yeah, it
goes
drops
down
off.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In New England, all the channels go away when the leaves come back on the trees.
I used
Yeah.
to have that problem, and then a neighbor took down 3 trees, and now my reception is great. I live in a hole.
I get something like 26 channels for free down here in Texas. Just
Really?
yeah.
That's not bad.
Nope.
A Royal
course, like-
1000 TO.
12 of them are the same,
Yeah.
but I still
Oh,
get
wow.
26 channels.
You got they believe in redundancy, Noah.
It's like, CBS in Austin, CBS in Waco, CBS in whatever, it's like that kind of thing. But there's some cool channels too. There's besides like Antenna TV and Me TV and Cozy and all that, there's something called Circle TV, which is,
Yes.
bizarre programs I've never seen before. It's kind of interesting. It's
I
actually
get
more
that here in
interesting
New
than what's
Jersey.
available on cable for $90 a month.
Well, it's funny when I'm out in the Southwest, there's a station called Heroes and Icons.
Yes, yeah, H and I, Heroes and
I
Icons. I get
really
that
like that
too.
station because they put on Star Trek. They started at
Yes.
like
Of
8 or 9 o'clock.
every version of Star Trek every night. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. To me, it's like when there's something else on, I say to my wife, I think it's Star Trek time. And,
Yep.
but usually that doesn't happen too often. Usually there's something that takes precedence. But I squeeze when she falls asleep on the couch, then I switch. But
I think it's going
Yes.
off the air now, but there's also a Decades channel that's pretty good.
Yep.
no, I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah,
Decades.
There's Decade, and then there's crime channels. It's weird stuff, just very weird stuff. But it's all free.
Yeah, free is good.
I don't pay for TV.
No.
Well, in your area, you probably don't need to, Bob, because you probably pick up all the New York stations without a sweat.
I'm about 25 air miles from New York City, so it's not too bad.
So
Where I
can you
grew up, though-
get Sunny Fox and Wonderama and
Oh, that was wonderful when I was a kid. I loved that show.
I won't take
They
us
still
down there.
Wonderama on the local Fox Channel 5, but it's
Yep.
awful.
Oh, how about Soupy Sales? Is he?
Oh,
Yeah.
Soupy Sales. One time somebody backed in my mom's car and we were on our way she picked me up after work. She got out of work. So she picks me up at my grandmother's house. We used to go home and as soon as I'd run in the house and turn on Soupy Sales. Some guy backed into my mother's car and I started crying because I couldn't see Super Sales.
That was the only TV show that my father banned from the house. He would not let me watch Soupy Sales.
There was
But yeah.
quite a bit of double entendre going on.
But like, WPIX and WOR and WNEW,
Oh.
we had great stuff out of New York on
I
the
could
independent.
Oh,
just go
yeah.
on and on and on
Oh,
about that.
gosh,
I want to
yes.
bore everybody to death with it though, but it was good TV back then.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Creature Feature came on one of those two channels.
Oh.
And of course they had the like on Sundays do the Abbott and Costello movies, or it's
Yep.
usually
Oh,
like
the Bowery Boys. The Bowery Boys.
The
Yeah,
Barry Boys would slip and satch.
Yep.
yeah, that was good stuff.
Hey,
All right,
thank
sorry.
you, Father.
Enough.
I really,
Enough.
I really appreciate what you did for all of us kids. Yeah, those are great.
One time my dad was at an airport and Soupy Sales was there. He came up to me. He goes, "Hi, I'm Soupy Sales. Would you like my autograph?" And my dad looked at him and says, "No."
Oh wow, you dissed Soupy Sales.
It's like, no, yeah,
No,
but
no.
if you could do White Fang and Blacktooth, I'll take their signatures, but
That's
I think
unbelievable.
my highlight for meeting a celebrity was probably meeting Foster Brooks in Pittsburgh Airport.
Oh, boy.
Now, was he
And
sober?
nobody under 40 has no idea who Foster Brooks is. But
He was
actually-
always sober. He just had that great act. It was awesome.
and he was a great fellow to talk to. And I had to change planes in Pittsburgh, and he took like 40 minutes of. I took 40 minutes of his time. I shouldn't say, but he was just wonderful. Just a bright, intelligent guy and funny as hell. Just great.
That's cool. That's
was
pretty cool.
cool.
I forgot about Foster Brooks. I remembered it right away when you just said the name, but I haven't thought about him in decades.
Oh,
Yeah.
was
I
he-
also I also ran into Al Sharpton one time in Newark Airport,
Oh boy.
and I looked at him, and I had visions of seeing him on the TV. I thought he was like a bigger guy, but he was big, heavy big at the time.
Yeah,
He doesn't look
Yeah,
that
he's
way
pretty
now.
big.
I mean, he looks terrible now, but he had long red hair and he was short and fat. And I looked at him and I really go to the bathroom really bad because I was on a plane for a couple hours. I run into the bathroom, I see him and I start laughing and I run into the bathroom. He's giving me this nasty look. I was laughing because it wasn't what I thought he looked like in real life after seeing him on TV for so long.
Yep.
They probably thought I
and-
was like taking on him mentally or something. I don't know.
One of the other free channels is called Antenna TV, and every night at 9
yeah.
o'clock is the really old Johnny Carson episodes with
Yeah, they play
Oh,
that
yeah.
I think like 10 o'clock at night here.
I've caught him
Nine-
every so
At
often.
10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. So everything's on
Yeah.
earlier here for me.
I love it when he has Rodney Dangerfield on. He
Yep.
interacts with him.
Oh,
It's a scream.
He had Bob Euchre on last night, and it was pretty hilarious.
Funny.
Bob, during the baseball strike, that was whatever, way back in the 80s or 90s.
Oh, when they
whenever
had
the
this,
baseball
the
strike.
one,
90
the one
94.
certain, year.
94, so yeah, it was Bob Uecker
94.
on the baseball strike. Anyhow,
Yeah.
quick, change the picture. Maybe there'll be a television and then we can keep up the conversation.
Yeah, there is some TV somewhere along the way, but this is actually a nice Zenith, by the way. This TO, it's a base, a little lower end one.
That
but
is the Royal 1000D that first made its appearance in 1957 before I was born.
Wow.
Wow,
Look at
you're a
this.
kid.
I can't see what price it is, but it's actually pretty nice shape.
That's a super nice shape. John, do you remember the Grundig that you showed before that you said it was in a case that kept it so nice?
Yeah.
Hello, I gotta go get this for a second.
Oh, okay, go get it. We like show and tell.
Here's my 1000D, same radio that
Oh,
you're showing right now, but it's in this plastic bag. It's got
Yeah.
snaps on the bottom.
yeah,
This thing's a museum piece. This is like
Wow.
one of the nicest radios I own.
that's fabulous. That's in really, really nice shape. And is that some sort of like factory pouch, or is that something that's just someone made?
I think that Zenith had that as an add-on that you could buy.
Money well
I
spent.
guess for travel or something like that. That was a clear plastic one. And I also have seen they had kind of like a faux leather one that kind of went in the same
the
way. It would
Naugahyde.
wrap around and snap on the bottom. But I think they charged a lot of money for those.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the Naugahyde or whatnot. Yeah, it's a
But
nifty.
these are great radios.
It's actually really nifty, nifty shape. Let's see what we got here.
I don't know what that is.
It's funny. It's not an Emerson. No,
Yeah, well, it kind of looks like an Emerson.
that's what I was wondering, but it doesn't say. It doesn't have the obvious symbol. Usually, you look for the, for the G class.
Right.
I think
I
it's
don't know.
interesting that it's got short wave to 17 megacycles too.
Yeah.
They really give that oscillator a test to make sure and get stations up in that neck of the woods.
Yeah.
You can put anything on the label.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, John, zoom into the bottom of the dial. It says something there. I'm not sure.
I think it says made in
Just
U.S. of
United
America.
States, okay. It almost looks like an Admiral chassis, like something by Western Auto or,
Ah,
Right, yeah.
I
know,
think
one
you're
of those
probably
there.
right. I think
I
you're
won't
right.
know for sure though.
That sounds closer. I think you are.
United States of Amur.
Amur, yes. Well, you know what it was? It's
Or
this
made-
symmetry thing going on between how much they're willing to go beyond the space of these stripe, try to keep it balanced.
Yep, made in US of Amur. The stencil ended right there. They couldn't go any further with the
That's
like
stencil.
funny.
It's like when the Little Rascals made signage, and then they get toward the end of the wherever it was, and all the letters and everything became cramped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Good segue back into television talk there.
Right. Please put dollars on open window one row.
You're just a kid, so you think of them as little rascals. Some of us think of them as our gang.
Our gang.
Yes, true. Our gang. Electronics Inc. Or a meter. Oh, I think this is from,
Wow.
I
Is that
want to
Russian?
say, I think this is from Ukraine. I could be wrong, but
Ukraine?
I believe,
That's not Ukrainian writing. It's
oh, okay, sorry.
Comunicazione. Maybe it's from
Maybe.
Venezuela.
interesting.
Oh, it says on the tag Yugoslavia.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
thank you, thank you. I thought it was somehow Ukraine, but thank you for the correction.
It all depends on what year you look at the map.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
Polish.
fine.
Sometimes I'm Czechoslovakian. Sometimes I'm Russian. It all depends on the year.
yeah. It's actually neat. what does it say? The handwriting is pretty small from
Yeah.
Yugoslavia. Neat.
It doesn't appear on it.
Don't see these very often.
No,
Nope.
I think this is my first.
That is neat.
Oh, here you go.
This is a Phillips, I think. And I think Paul was getting rid of this. He said, you know, I had enough with this. Yes, because you see the
Yeah.
dial face is broken.
He would not put up with that dial on the right, that's for sure.
Yeah, no. And so I think they went to the free table and it went to someone's home, I'm sure, because someone had it's actually a rather nice, handsome looking cabinet.
Some unsuspecting person said, wow, for free, I bet I can fix this. Ha ha.
Yeah, but this is actually that must have been pretty because actually the dial this is probably a mid-ish range one because it looks like it's only the single speaker, maybe that's a tweeter somewhere.
Nice grill cloth.
Yeah, it's a great shape. In fact, actually very attractive grill cloth. Yes, I haven't actually seen this model very often. So, but it's it's fully AM FM, probably good for 100 megahertz on the FM. It's definitely a European model. Heat.
All the white metal on the inside's broken. The clutch is no good for the tuning.
Yeah, I'm sure it's got with all the outside looks great. The inside is a nightmare. I think it's another Grundig, I believe. Sure now. This may not be a Grundig.
No idea.
I'm trying to think what this might be because I'm looking at the obvious label, but it's a lower medium. It's interesting. It's got the arrow. I guess we're going down to the scale. That's actually clever.
And it's got the little battery indicator signal strength meter thing going on.
Yeah.
Over
Whoop.
on the
Sorry
right.
about that. Let me go reverse that back. Yeah, that's I should have made this, but it's pretty neat. But harmonic distortion analyzer.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Does not cal.
Yeah.
Schlumberger.
It's not calibrated. Now a Scott, more modern solid state AM/FM receiver. Set of Carvers.
Mm.
Yes. You can see it's actually we're getting more and more, pretty interesting, more modern.
Got your black face and you got your silver face.
Yeah, it's pretty much what you could get back then. Yeah.
Nakamichi.
Yeah.
There's a car radio over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Not sure for which, but it's a Hallicrafters model S38.
Sometimes I'm a vendor at the automotive swap meets and they're like, what does that fit? And it's like, well, if you got a Sawzall and a MIG welder, it fits your car.
And has it worked?
It worked when new.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying is, did you get it? Someone say, "Hey, I do have a
Oh.
Sawzall and a welder."
Yeah, right. No, but
if I had to venture a guess, that looks to me like a Philco underdash, like maybe a car or truck radio, 6 volt probably.
Oh, yeah, definitely 6-volt positive ground without a doubt.
Yep.
Yeah. It was funny. I was just only I was going through my photos. I send photos to my dad's cousin on a regular basis. He's he's probably in his late 80s because he doesn't go to any car shows, but he's had a whole interesting set of cars in his past. But at any rate, I happen to be looking at a set of photos that I sent him of a 37 Ford convertible. And when I happened to look more carefully, it had the factory radio, which had a really nice big dial face. The center of the dash, and then there was a nice Ford speaker sitting below the dash. It was a good sized, very elegant looking speaker. And I said, wow, that's really nicely done. You know, as a factory, I guess it must have been a factory option, but it was really elegantly done with this. It was one of these, like, you know, I won't call it a bolt on, but you know, it sort of just fits into the sort of sleeve. This was built into the dash, sort of like this Zenith in the background, this nice big round, same color instrument as the dash.
Yeah, look at that in green, one of those Zeniths in green. Usually they're brown, white.
Well, I'm not sure if that's the original color or whether it's just changed it over time, but you know.
That's actually an original color. Zenith did paint them that green.
It's actually an attractive color. But yeah, that I'll have to, these days I'll when I get a chance, maybe maybe
Grab a picture of that radio, John.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'd love to see that, the car radio, the Ford car radio. Grab a picture.
Actually,
of that.
before we end, you know what I'll just I think I've got it in my deck on this computer. If you give me like, you know, 30 seconds, I could probably hunt it up and just show, because I didn't take a close up, but I'll show it to you anyway. So I thought it was really nicely done. In fact, you know what? We're close to the witching hour anyway, so maybe there you go. You get the close up of this anyway.
It's a beauty.
Yeah, it's not in bad shape.
Oh.
No, it's a pretty solid shape. I don't know what they're asking, but
I had a few of those in brown. I really didn't think they were that good of a radio, or maybe I just didn't do that good a job at restoring it. But I didn't think they were any great shakes as far as their reception was concerned.
They were okay for what they were. They weren't great, but they weren't awful.
Yeah.
that's what they're shooting for. Not great, not awful, just okay.
Mediocre.
Mediocre.
Just move closer to the tower.
I really love Zenith stuff, but I think RCA did a better job with their FM radios.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, I got to show this to be good. And
Oh, yes.
Oh, I had more than one photo of this. My eyes lit up because I thought if I was a kid, now you can obviously see the steering wheel is busted, but this would have been so cool if I had this as a kid. I'd never leave this thing.
Yep.
You know, I mean, look at it. It has all the buttons. Got
No,
the
I would have bought it with a
gear
busted. I would have bought it with a busted steering wheel.
You know, it was so the cool factor. I have no idea when it was anything like battery operated, had lights up or anything, but it was just, you know, this is straight out of like, you know, the 50s.
No, it's a radio.
Yeah.
I know a guy that has this brand new, and he even has the box for it.
Wow.
And I forgot what he paid for it. It was just some horrendously tall number.
It is very cool.
Yeah, I don't need the box. I just need the toy.
Yeah,
By the way,
exactly.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I did play with it. I did try some of the buttons and all that.
You broke the steering wheel.
I had to.
I think
had
it
to
even.
live by-
I think the wipers even work. There are wipers. that go on
Yeah,
the
you know,
roof
I didn't
here.
try the wipers. I regrettably, I didn't. You know, I wanted to try some of the switch gear.
See
and
the
I said,
wipers up there? They actually go
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah.
oh, you
It's even
can't.
got a
I would
parking
never,
brake.
ever.
And
need
there's
this
an
as a kid.
antenna out there with the wipers. There's
Oh,
an
yeah.
antenna that you pull up, and it's a radio.
Is it?
Yeah.
Son of a gun. I'm glad it's not in perfect shape because I would surely have brought it home. You know,
Look at the buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of buttons there. See, there's an AM radio.
Is this what they used to control the submersible trying to go to the Titanic recently?
Yeah, that and a game controller.
Wait, this was stood the test of time, man.
And 400
been-
pounds of styrofoam.
Yeah, this is really cool. I loved it. But
Yep. It's got an emergency brake and a brake release on the left-hand side. Ooh, look at
Yeah.
that bottle of soda there.
oh, it's just yeah.
I think
you wanna
those guys
go-
are in Davy Jones' locker.
I will actually stop here because
Oh.
I'll pick up on the next meeting. But what I'm gonna do is I'll quickly show that.
Who
because
can
let me-
find out if that's sold or not and what the price was? Because I would consider paying the shipping to get that piece of plastic down to Texas.
Oh, geez, I should have had you dial in. I should have just taken my camera and walk around, and I could have been your personal shopper, Noah.
I was close to suggesting, if you're gonna film the whole thing, could you potentially make it be like a FaceTime or something like that we could dial into, but I didn't dare.
Live.
We could think about that someday, when one of these days is actually do that as a walk around, have a camera. Then, people are doing
I
Zoom.
mean, if you're able to film it, you're able to stream it. You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah, the problem is, the Wi-Fi and the mobile signal is awful. Because you may recall the video I took with Tom Pereira where we did it with his phone, with the
you got to skip the Wi-Fi and
signal.
go
It
right
was
to you got to go
marginal.
right to
Yeah.
LTE and just go right to the network.
And the reach beyond the building it drops off pretty rapidly for them. So I don't think it had repeaters outside.
Look, it even has a clock.
Yeah, I mean, it just had all, like I said,
It's got everything.
I would have been to the moon if I received this as a Christmas gift, it's a little kid opening up.
Oh yeah, it's the toy that none of our parents could afford to buy us. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I think the float went bad in the gas tank, the needles pointing straight down.
You know what? You know what?
Well,
it's all fixable. It's all repairable.
The other thing I noticed about that too is it's got reverse all the way down, like some of the.
Yeah, it's got the Punzler as opposed to the Pernendel.
Yeah,
it's
so
not
the
Pernendel, it's a Punzler.
Yeah,
Right.
the old GMs just had some of that. I thought, wow, that's odd. I never thought it makes a little bit of sense when you think about it, but it probably had people like it was.
No, it was terrible because people tried to just jam the gear shift all the way down to the right to get into first gear, and suddenly they were going back.
Stop on it. Right, they stop on it. That's probably they separated because they really had probably too many accidents. People doing stupid things like that, jumping on the gas and so rear end somebody. Or go and drive into their garage or house.
No, if I remember correctly, I mean, I definitely saw one of these things, when I was a kid, and it's like the turn signals lit up and the radio worked and the wipers swept back and forth. I mean, it was just killer. It was just awesome.
Oh boy, I only played with it for a little bit, but I did play with it.
Was there no tag on it anywhere?
There was. I think I want to say my memory could be way off, Noah, because I may find the tag later. I have more than one picture of this. I thought the number was 75, but I could be wrong.
75 is nothing for something like that.
Yeah, I think it was. Well, I think because it was missing a lot. I mean, it had a fair amount, so I think the seller was probably trying to be somewhat realistic there.
It's like if you're looking for a particular. Whatever, pick your favorite old car that hasn't existed in 50 years. It's like, where are you going to find another one?
Yeah, no, you're right. I've never seen one before until now.
Not in Texas, apparently.
No,
try to get all our New England stuff down there.
It's missing the driver's side sun visor, but it does have the passenger side sun visor.
Yeah.
It's got the rear view mirror. It's got the wipers. I see the blades. It's got the windshield. Usually the windshield is gone and the wipers are gone. It's just a dashboard.
Now this is not in too bad a shape.
So I'm out here visiting one of my non-radio friends, and he's listening along. I got to give him credit for the Titanic joke. Okay, he's starting to wonder about us. Well, he's not starting. He's been wondering about me for years, but this is cementing that thing. Listening to us.
That's funny.
Well, if this didn't sell, and you can find out who it was,
Noah, I will make sure. In fact, I'll email me your number, and when it comes to Fall Brookline, I'll keep my eyes open.
All right,
there you go.
But cool. Well, I'll stop here.
You could ask that on the group's IO. You can find this picture and just ask a question to the general group and put a link to this picture and say, hey, does the owner of this know, where it is? I'm interested if he's still got it.
Yep. Good idea.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. In fact, it's actually, I uploaded all those photos up to our groups.io site in the album. Noah, you could grab the photo and download the photo, send it and say, I want it now.
Yep.
And you start getting too excited, maybe I'll throw in the green Zenith for free.
It's not as cool as the dashboard from my 62 Chrysler that's
No.
my headboard,
Oh,
but
if that had the electroluminescent dashboard,
right.
I would have bought it as is,
exactly.
you know, but,
You know, speaking of car radios, I've actually got a Tucker car radio.
you do,
Wow.
Yeah,
you do.
I know a
You
guy
have to
that,
show and tell that next time.
I know it's
Yes.
actually got a Motorola box, but the head of it says Tucker on the push button.
That's
Wow.
cool.
Back in 2018, I restored the radio that went into Tucker number 42.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. I've got pictures of it. I could show it to you next time, but
There was a guy I knew, he was down in Burlington, Wisconsin. He had a brand new Tucker engine crate yet. He was working on a prototype convertible Tucker. It was supposed to be a 1949. He was, I think he had about 3 or 4 Tuckers he was working on.
Oh, is that right?
This is back in the 80s, but I saw that Tucker engine in the crate and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool, brand new.
or no, I'm sorry. I said 42. It was Tucker number 44.
Oh,
And it
yeah,
was
they only
in
made
a
50
Dante
of them.
green, which was a really dark green that looked like the, you guys remember the Pontiacs from the late 60s that you could get like a Firebird, a GTO, or even a Bible that was like that really dark green?
Mhm, yep.
Oh, yeah,
Of that
sure.
same color. But I've got a bunch of pictures. I don't have them in this computer, but I got them in another computer. I could show them next time, maybe if we have time.
Sure, absolutely. We'll make time for you. This is all part of it. Let me see if
And
I
I
can.
can tell you the whole story. I'm not gonna do it now, but just.
You know
It
what?
was all by accident. It wasn't that like, oh, well, this will be the guy to do it. What happened was, I'll tell you the short end of it. John Tucker, who was the grandson of Preston Tucker,
Oh,
was a
wow.
liaison for this guy that bought a Tucker barn find in Ohio. Right,
Mhm.
sweetie, my wife's going to bed. So I got really shorten this up. $1,050,000 he paid for this unrestored. Took it to a guy here in New Jersey that has a speed shop that specializes in Tuckers. He's done multiple Tuckers. So they couldn't find anybody to do the car radio. So John found the Jersey Antique Radio Club. He called Rich Lee. Rich Lee called me. I got to do the job. That's how that happened. So
Well, see, the actual radio is a Motorola, the box, and it was
yes, there's a
common.
Motorola 708.
Yeah, it was used for a bunch of different cars too. It's just the
And it
head was,
actually was intended for Plymouth and Dodge
right.
because that
But
was
still,
a
having
6-volt positive ground, and the
Mhm.
Tucker was a 6-volt positive ground car.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But
that's
just
how
seeing-
it
Cool
goes.
just
as,
seeing
as
that
cool
this-
as, not only as cool, but as important as all that is, I'd still rather have that little plastic toy.
Look at that. Hey, before you guys go, let cut you loose. I'll quickly show that Ford picture because I pulled it up while we were talking.
Oh,
So
good.
I'll quickly share
You're
my
really
screen
good. It would have
again.
taken me a half an hour to find that picture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yep.
really cool grill.
I
Yeah.
think they use that, they might have used something like that in, well, I don't know if they used that in the Zephyr or not, because the speedometer was in the middle of the dash, but
Yeah, what an attractive, nice Philco
Mhm.
yep.
speaker. But
Lends itself.
look at the nicely done radio that just sort of lines up nicely with the instrument panel. You know, with this nice little.
Well, and not only
the
that,
V8
but with the V8 emblem
Exactly.
from the grill.
Exactly,
pointer.
that's used, right, exactly. I mean, it's so cleverly and gracefully done. And of course, the wood dash also just beautifully. This is a Ford. I mean, it's not even a, top end, car, but this is a really nice car.
No, it's got the banjo steering wheel. It's pretty,
Yeah, no, it's
pretty
all stuff.
cool.
I thought you guys want to see that. I said, oh,
probably
perfect for
a flathead V8.
yeah, flathead V8 makes all the right sounds. It's just beautiful. It's just a very elegant Ford, and I love that radio. Anyway,
gotta-
Banjo wheels worth 4 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the clock in the glove compartment door, that was a pretty rare
oh
option.
yeah,
too.
yeah,
it's
look at that.
gorgeous.
Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful
Wow.
car. In fact, I probably have. I can just here's the
Oh,
Very
nice color.
four-door
was in-
convertible cabriolet.
Yeah, and here's the front 37s are beautiful. I love 37. They
Yeah.
remind me of a
Yeah.
lower end Lincoln
Yeah,
Zephyr.
everybody loves the 40, but the 37s are just great.
I love the
Yeah.
teardrop headlights. Yeah, beautiful car.
Yep.
I think the 37 was a better looking car. 37 Chevys are my favorite. I love the look of them too. It's
Yep.
beautiful.
I've got
Well,
a
it looks
friend in town, he's got a 34 Plymouth Coupe, and I did the radio for him. It was a rare option for Plymouth to have a radio in 1934.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom
the
of the
same-
line.
Same little thing in the dashboard, and the box set underneath, it was connected like with speedometer cables to the controls.
Yes. Yep.
Well, it looks like I could do 2 Zooms every 2 weeks and one for cars
Cars,
and one for radios. I got a ton of photos.
Hey, between, it's old cars, it's old radios, it's old clocks,
Yeah.
it's old guns, it's old Lionel trains. I mean, it all
All of
goes together.
Absolutely. It all blends in. But at any rate, I guess I've really blown past our stop date here, but it was good having you guys on. It was certainly a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
And we'll, I guess we'll just pick this up and try to finish the photos for the next round in July. I guess it'll be, if I look at my date, I guess that kind of makes it the July, it's July 5th. I can keep it, guys, if you guys want to, but I don't know if people have holiday plans. I could shift things out a week or so as an option. I'll throw it out there. I don't know what if people are traveling, you guys are traveling about for the 4th weekend, but you can think about it if you want. I'll keep it. It's the day after the 4th, but some people might take the rest of the week off. If there's no opinion, I'll keep it for now.
might as well keep it for now.
All right. Well, then.
All right. Well, thank you. That was fun.
Yeah.